You ever notice how some people just draw you in?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have this presence, this confidence that's kind of magnetic.
Uh,
Like Steve Jobs, right?
oh, yeah.
Just striding across that stage, black turtleneck, the whole bit. Or think about Gordon Ramsay,
Right.
just laying down the law in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
They might not be everyone's cup of tea,
Yeah, for sure.
but you got to admit, there's something captivating about that kind of unapologetic confidence.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder, what is it that makes them tick?
It's interesting, right? I think it's because they really seem to operate from this place of deep self-assurance. Like they're not looking for validation from the outside. They have
Yeah.
this inner compass. And it makes me think about the whole idea of self-care.
Self-care.
Yeah, self-care. It often gets a bad rap, doesn't it?
It does. Like, people think it's all selfish and indulgent.
Exactly. But what if it's actually the key to unlocking that same kind of unapologetic confidence?
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
Hmm.
So you're saying it's not just about, like, bubble baths and face masks.
Right. It's not just about pampering yourself. It's about recognizing your worth, taking care of yourself.
Okay, that's
So
a very
you
good.
can really operate at your best.
So it's deeper than just, like, surface level stuff.
Exactly. It's about making choices that line up with your values, with your goals. Think about Steve Jobs again with his minimalist uniform.
Oh, yeah, the whole black turtleneck thing.
Yeah, that.
Hmm.
By simplifying his wardrobe, he freed up mental space
Interesting.
for the things that really mattered.
Yeah.
His vision, his creativity, his products.
It's like he removed those tiny little everyday decisions
Right.
to free up more bandwidth for the big stuff.
Exactly. And that allowed him to move through the world with that focus, that intention
Makes sense.
that people find so inspiring. His confidence wasn't about arrogance, it was about his purpose.
So it all comes back to purpose. And it seems like that's a common thread with these unapologetic types, like Gordon Ramsay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he might come off as harsh, even mean sometimes. But that demanding nature, I think it comes from his deep passion for excellence in the culinary world.
Absolutely. He has such a clear vision of what he wants to achieve, and he pushes people, including himself, to reach that level.
Yeah, some might call it tough love,
It might be,
but ultimately it's about helping people grow.
absolutely, helping them reach their potential.
So it's not about being mean just to be mean.
Right.
It's about setting those high standards.
Exactly. And holding yourself and others accountable. And that takes self-belief.
Hmm.
Both Jobs and Ramsey, they weren't afraid to set boundaries.
That's a good point.
To say no to things that didn't fit with their goals. They valued their time, their energy.
It's like they understood that every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
That's a great way to put it.
And sometimes saying no is the most powerful thing you can do.
It is.
It's like saying, my time and my energy are valuable, and I'm choosing how to invest them.
Absolutely. It's about being intentional with your choices.
Hmm.
You have the power to shape your reality.
Speaking of shaping reality, I've started doing this little thing inspired by Steve Jobs. I call it my Steve Jobs meeting.
A Steve Jobs meeting. Oh, okay. I gotta hear about this.
It's pretty simple, but honestly, it's been a game changer for me.
Hmm?
Once a week, I sit down with myself. Like it's an actual meeting.
One-on-one with yourself.
Exactly. I ask myself things like, am I on track with my goals?
Mm.
Am I using my time and energy on the right things?
Okay.
Am I taking care of myself? It's a way to make sure my actions are actually lining up with my vision for my life.
That's brilliant.
And if they're not, well, then I course correct.
You're holding yourself accountable to your own goals, your own values.
Exactly. And it's really empowering, actually. It's given me this sense of clarity that I didn't have before.
It sounds like it's a powerful way to cultivate that inner compass we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it really is. It's like becoming the CEO of your own life.
Hmm.
Realizing you have the power to create the reality that you want.
And that kind of self-leadership, that's a key ingredient in building that unapologetic confidence.
It is.
Trusting yourself, your instincts, your vision, even when other people might have doubts.
It's about realizing that your voice matters.
Mm-hmm.
Your perspective is valuable. You don't need anyone's permission to chase your dreams.
And that brings us to another important aspect of unapologetic confidence. Letting go of that need for external validation.
Oh, man. The need for approval. That's a tough one.
It is.
It's like we're programmed to seek validation from other people,
It's ingrained in us.
even if it means sacrificing our own authenticity.
Yeah. We worry about what other people will think. We crave those likes and praise, like
Yeah.
we try to fit in. But real freedom True confidence, it comes from trusting your own inner compass.
There's that saying, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Exactly. Their opinions are just reflections of their own beliefs.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we actually break free from that need for validation?
Recognizing when you're doing it and asking yourself, why? Is this truly important to me? Or am I just trying to please someone else?
So it's about like being mindful of our motives and making choices that align with our values.
Exactly. And remember, you don't need everyone to agree with you. In fact, if everyone's always agreeing with you, you might not be pushing the boundaries enough.
It's like Steve Jobs with the iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if he had waited for everyone to validate that idea.
We might all still be carrying around those clunky old flip phones.
Exactly. Sometimes the most groundbreaking ideas are the ones that meet with resistance at first.
It's about having the courage to trust your vision, even when it goes against the grain.
So it's not about being right or wrong. It's about being true to yourself.
And that authenticity, it's magnetic. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin.
They can sense it, right?
They can. The people who aren't trying to be someone, they're not.
Because at the end of the day, our imperfections, they're what make us unique.
They do.
They make us interesting.
Those cracks and quirks, they give us depth, texture.
It's what makes us human.
Exactly.
So maybe this unapologetic confidence isn't about seeking everyone's approval.
Maybe not.
Maybe it's not about trying to be perfect.
Perhaps it's about embracing our imperfections.
Valuing our unique perspectives.
And having the courage to show up as our authentic selves.
Yeah, I like that.
It's about giving ourselves permission, to be fully human with all our messiness, all our beautiful complexities.
Yeah. And maybe that's where the real confidence comes from. Accepting ourselves, flaws and all.
Absolutely. When we embrace our imperfections, we take the pressure off to be perfect. And that lets us focus on what really matters.
Okay.
Our values, our passions, our purpose.
It's like giving ourselves permission to be free from the self-doubt, the comparing ourselves to others, the need to prove ourselves.
And that freedom, it's empowering. It allows us to show up with more authenticity, more vulnerability, and ultimately more confidence.
So if someone wants to cultivate that kind of unapologetic confidence, where do they even begin?
Well, one practical thing is to start setting boundaries. Remember how Jobs and Ramsey were?
Oh, yeah. Fiercely protective of their time and energy.
Exactly. They knew what they wanted to accomplish, and they weren't afraid to say no to things that didn't fit in with that.
Like they were masters of prioritization.
They were. They understood that every yes is also a no to something else.
Right. So start by figuring out your non-negotiables.
Exactly. The things that are truly important to you, and then build your life around those things.
And that might mean saying no to things that you used to say yes to.
It might. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it gets easier. And the more you do it, the more confident you become in your choices.
You're building that no muscle.
You are. And as that muscle gets stronger, you'll feel less guilty, less obligated,
Yeah.
and more empowered to create a life that really reflects you.
It's about taking ownership.
It is, of your life and your choices.
And what about self-care?
Ah, yes. Self-care. Remember, we're not talking about, just bubble baths and face masks.
Right.
Although those can be nice too. We're talking about intentionally making time for things that nourish your soul, that give you energy, that help you feel grounded.
Those little moments of peace, rejuvenation.
Yeah.
Throughout your day.
Exactly. It could be something small, like taking a few minutes each morning to just breathe, or a walk in nature at lunch.
Listening to your favorite music, reading,
Yeah.
spending time with loved ones.
Exactly. The key is to find what works for you and make it a non-negotiable part of your routine.
Creating healthy habits.
Yes, that support your well-being. And they don't have to be big, time-consuming things. Small, consistent actions can make a big difference over time.
It's like that saying, little drops of water make a mighty ocean.
Exactly. And speaking of consistency, it's important to remember that cultivating this unapologetic confidence, it's a journey, not a destination.
Okay, yeah. There are going to be days when you feel amazing and days when you feel like a total imposter.
That's just part of being human. It's about embracing the ups and downs, the wins and the losses, trusting that you're always learning and growing.
Being kind to ourselves.
Yes, even when we make mistakes.
Because we all stumble sometimes.
We do. The key is to learn from it. Dust yourself off and keep moving forward.
So failure isn't the opposite of success.
No, it's not.
It's part of the process.
Exactly. And sometimes those so-called failures, they lead to the biggest breakthroughs.
So maybe it's not about avoiding mistakes altogether. Maybe it's about changing how we relate to them.
It's about seeing them as opportunities to grow and learn.
And maybe, just maybe, it's about giving ourselves permission to be a little messy, a little imperfect, a little human.
Because that's where the real magic is.
It's in those imperfections that we find our true selves, our power.
And when we embrace that, we unlock a confidence that can't be touched by what other people think, or by trends that come and go.
It comes from within.
It does. And it allows us to show up with courage, compassion, and self-belief.
And that's the kind of confidence that can change the world.
It can.
It's kind of funny, right? We look to these big names, these icons, for inspiration.
Yeah.
But maybe the real secret to all this unapologetic confidence,
Yeah.
maybe it's realizing we all have that potential inside us.
It's true. We don't have to be Steve Jobs or Gordon Ramsay. It's not about copying them.
Right.
The real beauty is finding your own way of owning your space, being confident in who you are.
It's figuring out what makes you feel strong, powerful, and then just going for it.
Exactly. Think about Jobs again. He wasn't afraid to go against the grain, to shake things up.
He definitely did that.
He believed in his vision, even when nobody else did.
And that belief, that unwavering belief, it seems like everyone we've talked about has it, these unapologetically confident people.
They do. It's like this deep-seated trust in their own gut.
Trusting your gut, your instincts, that inner voice that says, this is the way.
Exactly. That voice that tells you what feels right, even when everyone else is telling you to play it safe, to blend in.
And letting go of that need to please everyone, to fit in, it can be really freeing.
It can.
It's like giving yourself permission to just be you. Messy, brilliant, all of it.
Because the world needs more of that. More people who are willing to be themselves, to stand out, challenge things, to bring something new to the table.
So I guess what we've learned today is this. It's not about being perfect. It's not about getting everyone to like you.
Nope.
It's about embracing those imperfections, trusting yourself, having the courage to just be you, unapologetically.
It's knowing that you are worthy, just as you are. No one else needs to tell you that.
And when you truly believe that, you unlock this confidence that nothing can shake.
And that confidence, it spreads. It gives other people permission to do the same.
So go out there and be you. The world needs it.
It does.
That's a great way to end this, I think. Thanks for being here today, for sharing all this.
It's been my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, take care of yourselves and never be afraid to let your light shine.